So from verse 2, the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them a light has shined. You have multiplied the nation. You have increased its joy. They rejoice before you, as with joy at the harvest, as people exult when dividing plunder. For the yoke of their burden and the bar across their shoulders, the rod of their oppressor, you have broken, as on the day of Midian. For all the boots of the trampling warriors, and all the garments rolled in blood shall be burned as fuel for the fire. For a child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His authority shall grow continually, and there shall be endless peace for the throne of David and his kingdom. He will establish and uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time onward and forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. We thank God for this portion of his word.
Morning. So, I have not one but two questions for you this morning. It's become a thing now, I realise. First question is this. How are the Christmas preparations going? Stephen talked about this last week. Spoke about the forward planners and the last minuters. So with a show of thumbs from everything is sorted completely on top of things through to, sorry, Christmas is in 3 days and anywhere in between. Can we just have a show of thumbs, please? How prepared are we, King's Church? Oh, it's middling. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Second question is this. By a show of hands, how many people do a jigsaw at Christmas? Oh, you see, they're going out now. You don't need to be ashamed. It's a jigsaw. Oh, not as many as I thought. I love a Christmas jigsaw. Yeah, thank you. I have to be careful with jigsaws because I have a slightly compulsive personality and I'm also a completer finisher. So you start a jigsaw, and most people can do like 10 minutes and then go and do something else and come back. Not me. I have to sit there until it's finished, which with 1,000 pieces can take some time. So I only ever do jigsaws at Christmas. But I appreciate those two may seem like quite random questions. Where is she going with this? It's going to be a dangerous sermon. I was inspired by the fire last Sunday. No children were set ablaze. Glory, hallelujah. But those two questions, the plans and the puzzles, I ask because we are going to think about both of those things this morning. As we reach the end of Advent and the 25th kind of peeks at us over 3 more sleeps, I would like us to reflect on the most astonishing cosmic plan and the way the pieces of that fit together. Like a jigsaw, but the truth is it's like a jigsaw that humanity did not have the box for. We didn't have the picture to know what that puzzle was going to look like. We couldn't quite get our heads around how the pieces were going to fit. But we're going to do this in a slightly unusual way. The observant amongst you will have noticed that we didn't have a New Testament reading. Shock, horror. Well, we're going to start a series from Matthew's Gospel in the new year. And so today we're not just considering the nativity that we've been thinking about, but we're going to think about the plan and the puzzle that underpins the nativity. And we're going to reflect on the version of that recorded by Matthew in the opening chapter of his amazingly crafted literary masterpiece. Now, you're going to have to bear with me because I am about to nerd out on Matthew's Gospel because, seriously, people, genius. Anybody would think he'd had help. But this is an amazing, amazing, cleverly crafted piece of literature, and we often miss so much of it. Matthew opens his gospel, his story of Jesus, with a sentence that we tend to go, meh, okay. And we miss the plan. We miss the puzzle. He starts it like this. If you've got a Bible, can you open to Matthew's Gospel, which is the first book in the New Testament. Matthew opens his Gospel, chapter 1, verse 1, like this. an account of the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. We go, okay, next. Okay, here's what we miss. I am not a reader of Greek. I am a nerd, but not that much of a nerd. Sorry, Andy. Sorry, Mark. Sorry, those that love their Greek. I understand that the word that's translated in most of our Bibles as genealogy is this. Andy, pronounce that for us. Genesios. Okay. Now, in English, our English translations largely have that translated as genealogy. Okay. But it's the same word that's used for beginnings or origins. It's the word that we get another biblical book's name from. The book of beginnings, the book of Genesis. What we miss is what Matthew's first readers would have heard when this sentence was read. Because it's going to take them back to another Genesios. They would have heard Matthew saying, here's a puzzle for you. God created everything. You know that from the Torah. I'm about to tell you about another thing God has created, a new origin, a new beginning, a new chapter. We miss that, but Matthew's first Jewish readers would not. They'd have gone, excuse me? Matthew is laying out puzzle pieces like a breadcrumb trail for his first hearers. He is about to introduce us to a baby. Okay. But he gives us 3 names for that baby before we get there. And he gives them in reverse chronological order. So he's laid down one puzzle piece, which is, let me tell you about some new origins, some new beginnings. And then he gives these 3 names. The first, give the next slide, please, Anne, is Jesus the Messiah. Okay? The Messiah, or the Christ, is this mysterious, promised, prophetic figure just out there on the horizon that the Jewish people had been waiting for. The reading that we had from Isaiah is about 500 years before Matthew wrote this. So for 500 years, the Jewish people have been looking to the horizon going, where is the Messiah? Where is the one that's coming to usher in the kingdom of God? The kingdom of peace, the kingdom of hope, where the wars will be ended. Where is he? They've been watching. So that's a 500-year-old promise. Then we get a 1,000-year-old promise. The son of David, Israel's most famous, most revered king. Long before the prophets, long before Isaiah, was promised by God an eternal inheritance, a descendant who would always reign. So that's promise number 2. Promise number 3, again, another 1,000 years or so before that, son of Abraham. Millennia earlier, and the inheritor of a promise from God that his descendants would be blessed, to be a blessing to all peoples. Matthew, in one sentence, has made this astonishing theological statement. A new beginning, the fulfillment of 3 millennia-old prophecies, going back to the very origins of the Jewish nation. That is 4 puzzle pieces in Greek in 8 words. Told you Matthew was clever. If you were a first century Jew at this point, you would be on the edge of your seat. This is more exciting than a new Star Wars film. This is more exciting than what Santa is going to bring you. This is more exciting than the results of a general election. In one sentence, you would be bucking right up. It would be phones aside. It would be, what is coming now? This is a theological drum roll. Which brings us to why we didn't have a New Testament reading this morning. Because it's Christmas, and I don't think it should only be the kids that get to play at Christmas. We can pull off a nativity on 10 minutes practice. We can pull off a genealogy on less than that. So, some of you on the way in were given a numbered piece of paper. If you are number 1, number 14, number 28, or number 40, could you please take your positions? You know that that's coming. Have you got a microphone, Alan? Brilliant. Thank you very much. Everybody else, wait, Richard. These are our corner points. Number 1, number 14, number 28, number 40. Those of you that have pieces of paper, they have numbers on them. In a minute, we are going to set a counter for 30 seconds, and I'm going to give you 30 seconds to get into the correct numerical order based on the positions of these 4. So again, number 1 is there, number 14 is here, number 28, and number 40. Work out where you need to go. Do not mow, wait. Do not mow anybody down, do not set anybody on fire, go. Okay, we're almost there in 30 seconds. Right, anybody that is under 14, can you go up the aisle, please? So John is actually on the corner, so go up the aisle. Do you just want to take a final check that you're in the right place? Just have a look at the people next to you and check their numbers are either side of yours. Because this could get a little bit orcs if not. Okay, everybody in the right place? It's a Christmas miracle. Right, now you can open your piece of paper. Highlighted on your piece of paper is the part of the Matthew genealogy I would like you to read. Okay, we're going to pass a microphone down, starting with Alan. Please don't drop the microphone, and please hold it close to your mouth so it's actually of some use. Okay, so everybody else can follow. And what I would say is if you've got a really gnarly name that you're like, I have no idea how to pronounce that, do what preachers do. Just say it with great confidence and everybody will think you know what you're talking about. Okay? Little preacher's secret there for you. So, we're going to start. I will read the introduction. We will have a drum roll. And then Abraham in the corner is going to kick us off. So, wait for it. Okay. An account of the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Go.
Abraham was the father of Isaac.
Isaac, the father of Jacob.
Jacob, the father of Judah and his brothers.
Judah, the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar.
Perez, the father of Hezron.
Hezron, the father of Ram.
Ram, the father of Amminadab.
Amminadab, the father of Nahshon.
Nahshon, the father of Salmon.
Salmon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab.
Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth.
Obed, the father of Jesse.
And Jesse, the father of King David.
David was the father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife.
Solomon, the father of Rehoboam.
Rehoboam, the father of Abijah.
Abijah, the father of Asa.
Asa, the father of Jehoshaphat.
Josaphat, the father of Jehoram.
Jehoram, the father of Uzziah.
Uzziah, the father of Jotham.
Jotham, the father of Ahaz.
Ahaz, the father of
Manasseh, the father of Ammon.
Ammon, the father of Josiah.
And Josiah, the father of Jeconiah and his brothers at the time of the exile in Babylon.
After the exile to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel.
Shealtiel, the father of Zerubbabel.
Zerubbabel, the father of Abihud.
Abihud, the father of Eliakim.
Eliakim, the father of Azor.
Azor, the father of Zadok.
Zadok, the father of Achim. Achim, the father of Elihud.
Elihud, the father of Eleazar.
Eleazar, the father of Mathan.
Mathan, the father of Jacob.
And Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary.
And Mary was the mother of Jesus, who is called the Messiah.
Nice. Give them a round of applause, everybody. You can take your seats. Well done. Well done, folks. Thank you. Helpful. I might not do that. So, I wanted to do that not just because it's a bit of fun at Christmas, in the spirit of Richard Briggs, for those who remember him, but because culturally we don't do very well with genealogies, most of us. Our individualism means that we don't define ourselves in this way. But many cultures do. And certainly many ancient cultures do, and certainly Matthew's first readers did. If people were going to believe that this baby he was presenting as the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham, was who he said he was, if people were going to believe this could possibly be the Messiah, they needed to see the family credentials. And what you just heard read are the family credentials of Jesus. Now, I don't know what struck you as you saw that, as you heard that. Maybe different things for different people. But there are some things that I think it's important that we do notice. Some of those puzzle pieces, those things that God is revealing, that Matthew is showing us. So the first is this. The birth of Jesus was a really long time in the planning. I don't know if that's what struck you as that list was read round. Each of those names represents not a person, but a generation. That is 40 generations God had been planning this birth for. Through generations, through centuries, through huge cultural changes. Through periods of national triumph, the mighty King David. Through terrible disaster. I would say Ben Ward, but that's harsh. The exile. Through times of great faithfulness, kings like Hezekiah, and times of great apostasy, where the people just turned their back on God en masse. Still, generation by generation, in line with those promises to Abraham, to David, later through the prophets, God was on the move. Getting ready, picking the right time, the right place. The right parents. When we struggle, when we doubt, when God doesn't answer our prayers like that, when we wonder what's happening in our world, when we can't make sense of it, when we ask, where is God in it all? Where is God in the mess? I want you to remember 40 people representing 40 generations, stood in a line, reading out ancient names. To remember God is busy working out his plans. Whether we see the picture on the box or not, there is a picture on the box. God knows it. If God has been faithful all those times, we can trust his character. We can stand on that. God's plan is so much bigger than any one of us, than any one of our generations. God is not that bothered about boomers or Gen Xers or millennials or Generation Z or all of these things. We're just people that he loves. The Bible gives us glimpses of the picture on the box, but not the whole thing. This that we've just seen is our proof that God will keep his promises. The second thing that I just want to draw our attention to, which you may have noticed, is there were all sorts of names and all sorts of people in here. There were warriors and kings and priests, absolutely. But there are also farmers in this list, like Boaz, herdsmen, like Jesse, carpenters, like Joseph. And it's not just men. I imagine some of you noticed how few women there were standing up. We go, so scandalous. It is scandalous, but do you know what's scandalous for an ancient genealogy? It's scandalous that there were any women standing up. Women didn't get mentioned in genealogies. Nobody cared who the mothers were. It was just about the fathers. But here, Matthew weaves in the names of 5 women. I don't know if you saw them. If you had been a first century Jew, you would have been expecting, if there were going to be women's names, the names of the matriarchs, the mothers of the nation. Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Leah. That's who you'd have been waiting for. That's not who we got. We got, at best, shady ladies. We got Rahab, a Canaanite sex worker from Jericho. We got Tamar, also a Canaanite, the victim of shocking abuse, who seduced her father-in-law and then shamed him into honouring her. It's gnarly. We've got Ruth, a Moabite. Ruth was a nice girl, but her ancestry, the Moabites, the descendants of an incestuous relationship between Lot and his daughters. And then the wife of Uriah. Anybody know the name of the wife of Uriah? Bathsheba. That's a sorry story. These were not nice, respectable Jewish girls. They weren't royal princesses or women of status. They are poor, they are vulnerable, they are exploited, they are disrespected. And yet, God weaves their courage, their faith, into this epic plan he's outworking. Matthew is showing us in this genealogy, with its shocking list of female names, that Jesus is fully human. His family tree is as complex as any of ours. You may think your family be crazy. You ain't got nothing on Jesus. Seriously, go and read the stories. It's not even just Jewish. 3 of those 4 women are non-Jewish. They are Canaanite, they are Moabite. What Matthew is doing is he's showing us that God can weave something world-changing out of the mess that humans make. He can use the mighty, but he can use the ordinary. He can use those that society looks down on and despises. Matthew is saying this baby came from all of this. And he came for all of this. For all of this. For all of this. All of the mess we see. Jesus came from the mess and for the mess. The third puzzle piece that I'd like us to notice and remember is the final link in the plan. Over there, where Christina was. This is the one we remember at Christmas. This is where the names get familiar. Yeah? We've reached the names we know well. We know Joseph. We know Mary. However, what we're supposed to notice is the thing that is different about Joseph. If you look down, every other name is father of, father of, father of, father of, father of, father of. It just keeps going. Father of, father of, father of. Joseph, husband of. You are supposed to react to that because you're waiting for father of, but it says husband of. The question this should raise in our minds then is, so who's the father? We know who the mother is. Who's the father? Mysterious. The final puzzle piece I'd like to draw attention to is the very last verse, which again we go, and then typically skip over. Verse 17. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. From David to the deportation to Babylon, 14 generations. And from the deportation to Babylon to the Messiah, 14 generations. What is the deal with 14, Matthew? We know, don't we, that he's trying to say something. We just don't know what the something is. Well, here's the thing. In the Bible, numbers can have special meanings. So, for example, the number 7 is associated with perfection. Yeah? The number 12 is associated with the people of God. The number 3 is associated with God himself. But letters also have numerical value. Okay? And so numbers can become associated with people whose names add up to that number. Yeah, you see what I mean? Okay. There are no vowels in Hebrew, just consonants. Okay. And here's a cunning thing. D is worth 4, V is worth 6, and D is worth 4, which makes 14, and spells who? David. Matthew is saying in these 3 stanzas, one is coming. The one who is coming is a king like David. The one who is coming is a king like David. The one who is coming is a king like David. And he said it 3 times, 3 being the number of God. One who's coming is not only a king like David, bringing in a new kingdom, he is also God, ushering in God's new kingdom. Matthew is a genius. The Bible nerds in the room are now going, oh, who knew? Which is what I did. Some of you are going, You've missed the glory of Matthew's gospel already, shame. Matthew is weaving this very clever, very intricate plan and puzzle of what God is doing together so beautifully. This, for me, when I realised this, I didn't make it up, I read it somewhere, was literally like, oh, mind blown. Goodness, that's what the 14s are about. Matthew is trying, who is this baby that was promised millennia earlier? Who is this baby from and for all people? Who is this baby? The great king bringing a new kingdom, the Son of God himself. It is no wonder that the angelic army, that angelic host that Matthew records singing to the shepherds were freaking out. Look at how he's done it. We've been waiting since then to work out how God is possibly going to pull this off. We've waited generation by generation by generation. There was a promise. How is he going to keep that one? Generation by generation. It's here. God is here. Look what he's done. The angels say, glory to God in the highest heaven, peace to his people on earth. We see the picture on the box. Hallelujah. These 17 verses, in my opinion, are the completely underrated prequel to the Nativity, to the gospel, to the story that is joy to the world, the Lord has come. So, we have 3 days left. Those of you who were here and under, you've got 3 days left. We've got 3 days left to prepare, not just presents and dinner and travelling, but 3 days to prepare our hearts. People who kind of celebrate Advent, they get this, but we're not really an Advent-y sort of church. We've got a little window before Christmas Day to quiet our hearts, to look into the crib, to remember the baby, born to no one important, from nowhere significant. We do that in a difficult time as a nation. Some of us do it in a difficult time personally. But let's hold this memory of these 40 people. The story in the background, the plan and the puzzle that God's been working out. Let's remember the scale of that. Let's remember God's faithfulness in that. Let's remember the mystery in that. That the puzzle, the plan is now revealed in a teeny tiny baby. The Messiah, Emmanuel. God is with us. Let's wonder like the shepherds did. What can this mean? Let's worship like the Magi. We followed the star and we don't quite get it, but we know it's something. Let's celebrate like the angels. Finally! Now we see what was happening. Let's ponder these things in our hearts like Mary. And let's finish with that ancient promise. For a child's been born to us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders. He is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His authority shall grow continually, and one day there will be endless peace. For the throne of David and his kingdom, he will establish and uphold it with justice, with righteousness, from this time onward and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts has done this. Amen.